there. Thank you for joining us on a new episode of Tech Trends as we seek out innovation and creativity that are unique to Africa. On the program this week, innovators passionate about Africa's growth converge for the 11th edition of Africa Next 2023. And my chat with Ayo Akinola, a tech entrepreneur, focuses on the pros and cons of generative artificial intelligence. Welcome to the program. I am Olayemi Otunuga.
It is questionable if all the mechanical inventions yet made have lightened the day's toil of any human being.
Africa Next is bringing together innovators and some of the brightest minds in Africa to drive conversations that will unlock Africa's full potential. Co-hosted by German international broadcaster Deutsche Welle, Africa Next 2023, formerly known as Social Media Week Lagos, seeks to encourage collaboration and solution-oriented discussions for change in Africa. In its 11th year, Africa Next 2023, formerly known as Social Media Week Lagos, continues to be the premier gathering for innovators in Africa. This year's theme, Cooperate, Collaborate, and Innovate, focuses on unlocking potential as well as creating a prosperous future for Africans.
There are people here from all over the place, but what you all have in common is this idea that coming to a place and connecting with people are going to not only make you better, but allow you to add value to make your countries better and to make the continent better. So you all have that in common. So everybody here is working towards a common goal of achieving prosperity for themselves, but achieving prosperity just on a universal level. So that's kind of what the focus of the theme is. But I encourage you all to look at the schedule. There's some really, this particular time around, the programming is so amazing. Everything from how do you take inspiration from nature to build better economies, all the way to building from the metaverse, to talking about good governance.
This year, creatives, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and organizations converge to drive conversations that breed ideas, solutions, and innovations.
Or the benefits that we can gain from it.
Through these conversations held at separate stages, attendees hear and learn from various speakers on how to leverage technology and partnerships to grow impact.
Everybody knows Mark Zuckerberg, everybody knows Bill Gates, but those are the face of the company. It was never one person that came together. It was usually 2, 3, 4. Even Jack Ma, it wasn't only him. So great things are never really built by one person. If you want to achieve scale, anything that you are doing, if you want to achieve scale, if you want to achieve it faster, if you want to spread your risk, if you also want to have ideas, it comes with, collaboration.
Come together, learn from each other. If you're deficient in something, don't feel bad about it. Just learn and grow into that space.
If you want to maximize opportunities, start to think about the things that you can do around you. Because all of the essays, the questions, they're going to be asking you, what have you done? But if you have nothing to show for it, then it's going to affect you. So work on stuff. Also, apply. One thing that a lot of creatives do is we disqualify ourselves before we even try. There was an opportunity I got recently. I applied 20 minutes to the deadline because for weeks I was like, I cannot get it. Me that people are telling me, oh, I love what you're doing, but I still go through, imposter syndrome. And I applied and I got it. Something I was so sure. But my mantra now is apply anyway. So I'll say that if you're interested in anything, apply. Just put yourself out there.
Each time that someone brings a story to me, right, I always want them to think ahead for pitching something and saying, oh, we're doing great work. But it's how is this relevant to a global audience, right? And sometimes you might be better served talking to, for example, maybe a local publication, because it might be much more relevant for people who are based in Nigeria, right? If you're doing something that is very hyper-local and very important to people based in Nigeria, right? It's very important for you to know that this is the audience that you're talking to.
For one of the international partners at Deutsche Welle, African Next 2023 provides the kind of atmosphere that portrays Nigeria's vibrancy.
We like to be here because there is a certain atmosphere that we like. It's very similar to the atmosphere we find everywhere in Nigeria. It's very vibrant, energetic, and this is what we find here. And we'd like to talk to people, to creators, to social media creators, learn from them. What is it they do? Why do they do this? And of course, we'd like to figure out what is it that people need, because that's what we do. We try to produce content that people need, that is relevant to them. And so we're here to learn, to listen, and then to produce and cooperate accordingly.
Although this year's edition kicked off on a quiet note, it provides a space for those passionate about Africa's growth to give rise to ideas, solutions, and innovations that elevate the continent. A Nigerian artist is using artificial intelligence to reimagine life for African elderly people by showcasing near real-life pictures and videos of them walking down the fashion ramp and on the beach. Malika Fedwa, who is also a filmmaker, said because many elderly people were marginalized in the society, especially in the fashion world, he began to imagine how they would look if they were models. Afedwa started posting some of his work on social media, and it went viral.
So I never thought it was going to go this viral. I just thought my friends would like it, my friends would like it, I normally do, but I never thought it would go this far. However, when I was making it, I kind of knew there was something there. Because when I was creating it, I was enjoying the images. I was like, wow, this is dope. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
He came up with Elder Series, a catalogue of pictures and videos showing white-haired women and bearded men strutting the runway for a virtual fashion show in Afrocentric attire, including ornamental neck and armbands.
The Elder Series came from me trying to showcase the elderly people in a different way that you don't normally see them. You know, because I feel they're marginalized. I feel like people don't talk about them, you know, in the community or anything. So I wanted to see them in a different space. And what inspired that was my personal relationship with my mom as well. So I wanted to see, you know, always, you know, imagine the elderly people in a place that is not either in a sad space or in a suppressed state.
Afedwa was not always an artist. He studied business in the university, but stepped into the world of filming after a friend bought him a camera in 2011. Afedwa said the idea to explore a different world for old people came when his elderly mother fell ill. Using an artificial intelligence app, he started creating content showing a brighter side of old age. As medical centers continue struggling amid the nursing shortage, a hospital system just outside of Chicago, Illinois, is turning to futuristic technology to fill the need. If you step foot inside Elmhurst Memorial Hospital, you just might see a 5-foot-tall Jetsons-like robot with light bright blue eyes roaming the hallway.
We've got 2 robots in the hospital, and between the 2, they are working 24/7 with only a short period of time to charge in between. In the last couple of years, everyone, like ourselves, has been kind of encountering the issue of staffing shortages, and we were trying to think uniquely about how we address that situation.
The bots, both named Moxie, are made by Texas-based Diligent Robotics and are used to ease the burden put on hospital workers so they can spend more time attending to patients. Equipped with a digital screen on her chest and an ID badge to open doors implanted in a robotic arm, Moxie has been running errands around the clock for the medical team at the hospital since June 2022.
Supplies and medications and other things that we need from other areas of the hospital, she's able to move those around for us very easily.
According to statistics from Elmhurst Memorial Hospital, The two robots made about 1,800 deliveries each month, traveled nearly 1,000 miles, and saved hospital staff well over 2 million steps trekking back and forth across the facility. During that same 6-month period, Moxie's helping hand equated to over 3,100 hours of time returned back to the medical team.
A lot of times I was the one kind of running around the hospital, picking everything up, and you put on a lot of miles working in a hospital, doing all that walking around, especially one like Elmhurst that's very long. So definitely saving us steps, which is very helpful in keeping us at the bedside and not taking us away from our patients. So really, really helpful.
No matter how advanced the robot's AI may be, workers say, beyond the occasional disbelief while passing the bot in the hallway, Moxie isn't being used to engage with patients at the hospital.
We're not relying on Moxie to interact with patients. That's still our privilege and honor, so we get to spend more time with them.
You've got a nursing shortage, you've got a workforce shortage. One of the things that you can do is really think about making sure that the people that you do have are focused on what they need to be focused on. And so that's really what automation and our kind of solution is about.
Thomas says she and her team spent years doing research trials along 4 Texas-based hospitals before bringing Moxie to the market. She strongly believes their products will be part of a healthcare future that regularly features robot assistants.
People are seeing a robot in their environment for the first time. And so you do see that kind of disbelief, but then it's interesting how quickly people are like, oh yeah, okay, we're there now. I got it. And so I think it's really the way it's going to be.
Diligent Robotics wouldn't disclose how much hospitals are paying to have Moxie on hand, but said their prices work on a tier-based subscription service, where healthcare clients pay for Moxie's different features depending on their hospital's particular needs. Although Thomas and the team couldn't specifically say how many Moxies they have enlisted at hospitals across the country, they did confirm there are dozens, with more to come as they try catching up to the request for more robots.
Our Tech Tips is on how to prevent apps from collecting your data on your Android smartphone. Users' data isn't that safe anymore, and it has been illustrated many a times when news about apps being hacked appears frequently. Several apps have been targeted for harnessing the personal data of users. In case you're worried about your privacy and want to prevent apps from collecting your data, here are a few tips that can help you. Do not allow permission to the apps. Some apps seek permission for making a call, accessing a camera, or a microphone. Some of these requests do not make sense, like a weather app seeking permission to make a call, and that's a possibility that they might be listening. So if an app is asking permission that feels strange to you, feel free to deny it. And if the app is adamant and denies running without the permission, consider downloading an alternative from the App Store. Users can also manage the app permissions one by one, and here's how it's done. Head to the Android phone settings. Look at the apps option or application manager based on your smartphone. Tap on the specific app from the list. Head to the permissions section. Turn off and on the toggle placed in front of each permission like microphone, camera, calls, and more. Alternative users can also head to security settings, app permissions, and then choose the permission type to see what all applications have been granted with that particular permission. Users can also remove and add new apps here. That's all on our Tech Tips segment.
Generative AI, the part of artificial intelligence that can generate all kinds of data, including audio, images, text, simulations, and videos, among others, is considered to be an important area of AI research and development. This rapidly growing field has the potential to revolutionize the tech industry. It is said to take inspiration from existing data, but also generates new and unexpected outputs, changing the way we approach content creation. My guest, Ayo Akinola, a tech entrepreneur, will be sharing his thoughts on the new generative AI tool called ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is a language model, basically a computer program that can understand and write sentences like a human being would. So the GPT means Generative Pre-training Transformer, and it was developed by a company called OpenAI. I'm sure you see OpenAI. You've come across that as well. The buzz around it and why people are excited about it is largely due to its ability to generate like human-like text, basically write like human beings, which can be used in different areas like customer service, content creation, talking to robots on the internet, or even writing an entire script of a movie or a 500-page essay in seconds. So it's really smart. It's an AI that is really smart, smarter than you and I. And that has gotten people worried that it could also be used in ways that are not, good for the society. So yeah, that is what it is.
And how can people use this? I mean, it's a revolutionary technology. How can people use this AI chatbot?
So the primary use is, it involves understanding and generating text. So some examples could be answering questions, similar to a search engine, generating, text such as, email responses, writing essays, writing books, entire books, or articles. It can also be used to summarize even large amount of texts. And you could also use it to translate. Yeah, so you could translate from one language to another. So those are just, a few examples that you could use ChatGPT for, but the potential is vast and is diverse. But with its help, you can save a lot of time and improve the quality of work in many, many, many fields.
Talking about its use, there are concerns, in some quarters about its implementation in schools. Should we really be worried?
Well, yeah, there's some reasons to be worried, but it's really about one of the major reasons why it should be worried, or why I'm worried about it and its implementation in schools particularly, is the lack of critical thinking, right? It's because it's so easy to use. Anybody could use it, and it's so smart. You could use it to do any assignment, any homework, any research, anything really on a basic level. People will stop really thinking for themselves. Students will stop thinking for themselves, really. They just go home and open ChatGPT and do any assignments, and they're not really using their own minds to think and trying to solve solutions for themselves. Another worry in the application or educational application or in schools is misinformation. So because ChatGPT is not online, basically it's not connected to real world events. It's basically just a plethora of texts. It could pass information that is maybe old or not directly involved in the timing or the matter that you're speaking of or you're trying to solve or get now. So it could lead to some sort of misinformation. And maybe one more thing would be job displacement, right? Because it becomes more advanced, right? And is able to perform tasks that, previously would require human intelligence, or there's a risk of job displacement and for teachers and other professionals. So those are, I would say, are the risks in a school setting, yes.
Well, it's no doubt that AI has been around for a while now. But what impact will this chatbot have on intelligent automation?
Intelligent automation. Well, languages like this or models like this, they have a great potential to impact intelligent automation. One major way is enabling more natural human-like interaction with machines, right? With the ability to understand text, it can be used to create some sophisticated chat boxes or virtual assistants, and it could improve, the user experience and make it easier for people to interact with, your computer or your machines or anything really. Another way it could impact intelligent automation is by allowing machines to perform tasks that are required or that require human intelligence. So such as, like I said before, you want to summarize a whole book, right? Or you want to translate one language to the other, or you want to generate content for your social media post or for a publication or something. You can now, it will help improve or increase the efficiency, and it will reduce a lot of time and labor, or human time and labor in those certain areas. But it's important to note that the technology itself is relatively new. So there are important ethical and societal considerations to keep in mind. Yeah.
There are questions about its reliability, when compared to a search engine like Google, for example. Which would you say wins and why?
The almighty Google. They serve different purposes, and they have different strengths and different weaknesses. A search engine like Google is designed to provide a user with a list of relevant information sources, right? On maybe a specific topic, right? So what it does is to crawl the web, rank pages based on their relevance, and then present the most relevant information to you. So that's why you see page 1, page 2, page 3, and then you see different lists on Google. Whereas ChatGPT is trained to understand and generate text, right? It can answer questions and generate responses. It has the ability to access vast amount of information. It may not be able to provide accurate results like Google, but that being said, they can always be used together. I would say they both have their strengths and their weaknesses, and they can be useful in different situations. In terms of finding maybe accurate and authoritative information, I would use Google. A search engine like Google would be more reliable. But for tasks that require maybe understanding and generating texts, then, for example, if I wanted to write an essay, ChatGPT would be the most useful tool.
But one thing is sure, which is that when it comes to artificial intelligence, there's so many areas we are yet to explore. But finally, before I let you go, in your opinion, is ChatGPT a good or bad thing?
Whether it's a good or bad thing will depend on how it is used and the context in which it is, it is used. It's very important to understand that there's potential risk and benefit in technology like this, and we need to find a way that's to use it in a safe and ethical and something that is in a way that's very beneficial to the society. So, is it good or is it bad? It really just depends on how it's used.
And we'll leave it, at that. Thank you so much, Ayo, for sharing your thoughts on tech trends.
Thank you very much.
And that's all we have for you on our lineup this week. Thank you for staying with us. As always, Tech Trends is here to share insights, trends, and developments happening within the tech space. If you missed any part of the program, you can always catch up on the Channels TV YouTube account, where we have all of our episodes, and I encourage you to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. Until next time, I am Olayemi Ojunuga. Bye for now.